That's that said. And Big Mark, Big Mark, all that shit is love and happiness. Today I'm gonna be a little bit different. Hold on, let me set this shit up the right way for y'all good people. I know right now you can't see my screen, but that's okay though. I ain't doing nothing to make sure that people can't hear me talking. Cause I have some political shit to talk about today. Now mind you, this is just my personal. My political views are mine alone, nobody else's. All right? So let me start off by saying this. I am what you call a liberal, progressive person that wants to help everybody. That's why I believe in welfare. I had jobs, didn't have jobs, been hurt, been unhurt. And I believe that the system is there to do good for the people. If a system does nothing for anybody, then what the fuck's the point of having one? Just for a few people can benefit from the system? But we're going to get into all of that. Let me say this. As a young black man, people say they don't believe in handouts. I don't believe in handouts. I don't believe in freeloaders. But this is a society of freeloaders and handouts. Now, they don't believe in handouts and freeloading for poor people, but it's okay for rich people because they're supposed to be the job creators. Even though it seems like those same job creators seem to take our jobs and ship them overseas. When my father was a young black man, he wouldn't take a job that paid him $20 an hour. They paid this nigga no less than 30. Worked at a bread factory, car factory, part assembly. My mother had a job that worked for Amoco. And mind you, this is in the 1970s and the 60s. Oh. 1960s and 70s, right? And they took those jobs away. You didn't have to be well educated to work. You know, applications was basically just sign your fucking name. Now you gotta have a resume. One thing about society, they put roadblocks in the way to see if you really qualify for a job, which is bullshit. All it is that they say you got to have all these recommendations, qualifications. Jobs have always been one thing in this world. It's who you know and who knows you determine more or not if you're going to get the job or not. All the other stuff they're telling you people, it's bullshit. It's who you know. Now, I'm not saying in some cases it doesn't matter for you to be qualified, but you telling me some of these motherfuckers at workplaces are qualified for the job they got? Not the case. This is why it's important for parents to have an established career in a field that your son or daughter can follow you into. Now, sometimes it's going to be, okay, you know, my mom didn't work, my dad did this kind of odd job situation, that's fine. But more likely, which I wish I had in my family, was that my father had an established career that I could have just followed him into. Let me case in point, I'm going to talk about a friend of mine, her name is Sharon. What we call her Shay. Her family worked for the post office, and it was a good thing. You know, I'm not saying that she didn't get in there on her own merits. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that what it was a good thing for her benefit was that her family was already established in the post office. So it was easier for her to get a job in the post office. And that was good for her. But for other people, it's not going to be that easy. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have no recommendations from nobody, your post office or nothing like that. So it'll be a little bit harder for you to get a job in the post office. But at the same time, it's not an impossibility. You just know that sometimes it's a little bit easier for somebody because of what they know and who they know. I mean, this is a good thing for her life because she was able to go to college, she got well educated, she did her shit. And you know what I'm saying? Now she's able to go different places, her family and her and everything like that is a beautiful thing. I'm not envious of her in the least of that, but I feel very proud as a person that she had those what we call advantages, because a lot of us young black people don't. I really appreciate that her father and mother are both in her home. Now maybe she had a relative or two in her home growing up that went astray, but ultimately those her brothers and sisters or whoever else she may have in her family went the right way because they had a strong foundation to build upon. This is the importance of the family. Family is key and important. Family don't always get along, but that's not the case what I'm talking about. It's about that family is important for the success of any community or any group of people. When those have not good father figures and mother figures in life, look out here in the hoods of America and see what you get. Now, true enough, some people overcome the bullshit, but 99% of people are just products of their environment. Let me tell you something. If you was to take a white kid and take a whole white community and fuck it up as fucked up as some of these hoods are, you will have the same results. You'll have gang banging, drug dealing, killing, all of that. And in some cases in the white community, it's like that. But you're not going to see that on television. Don't think every white community is up and up. There's white trailer parks, they ain't nothing but the projects. It's just the white folks version of it. You know? We have to think in this country long term. What is more important, money or family? Because the truth be told, I have to say this as a person. They say, well, you're liberal as hell. I am. I'm liberal, communist to my heart. Love the old school Black Panthers, all of that good shit. But here is the thing. If you have children, it's very important for the mother to be at home. And it's important for the father to go out and work. And it's important for those children to see that that mother and father have a good relationship or a decent relationship, so your children can grow up and want the same thing. As a young man, I didn't see that. And truth be told, it affects you for your whole life. But I am lucky in one regard. I don't have no children yet, you know? And people say, why do you say you're lucky because you don't have no children yet? Because how would I be able to really articulate to my son or daughter what is right and wrong if I've never experienced that myself? I've seen my mother have relationships with different men, but having relationships doesn't mean they're gonna stay together. This nigga ain't your father, he ain't your daddy. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that you have to think about all the time as a young person. It's how long is this guy gonna be here? If he really loves my mother, then he really love us. And then people walk away, you know? Don't mean you have to be related by blood, but family is a deeper meaning than the blood that you have. So on a certain level, I'm going to tell you, the job of women, the majority of women, is family and children. And when women take care of their main job as family and children, it makes the whole community much better. Girls grow up to be respectful of being a young lady instead of some little slut up the street. And there's always going to be some little slut up the street. But the majority of the young ladies carry themselves with a certain level of pride and whatnot. And that is what is missing on every level in this great country we call the United States of America right now. We ain't got enough young ladies, but we got a plenty of young hoes out there. I know, oh, what are you trying to say? I'm talking about the way you dress either. I'm talking about the way you carry yourself. All that loud talking, all that foolishness in the street, all this stupid ass social media stuff, you acting a goddamn idiot on television on a constant basis. And it's cool. It's cool for a little girl to curse and say stupid shit all day long. Oh, this is so cute. This is so funny. It's not cute or funny. It's sad, is what it is. As a society, we have lost that which we call honor and respect. And in some cases, I can understand why some of these kids don't respect certain adults, because they don't have respect for themselves. How can you expect some shorty to have respect for you and you ain't respecting yourself? Sad is where we at in life right now. You know? I was kind of hoping that, in the generations to come, that things would get better, for young people. And the truth of the matter is, when your mom and dad are acting a damn fool, you ain't gonna do nothing but act a damn fool yourself. And that is the problem with society. Kids raising kids. How can a kid raise a kid and they only a kid themselves? But as I say, some people rise above their station. Some people just like in athletics. This guy gets drafted in the 4th round. Even though he was drafted in the 4th round as a quarterback, I'll give you one, Tom Brady. Drafted in the 6th round of the NFL draft. Tom Brady showed that he was one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks to play the game. Even though he got taken in the 1st round, but he didn't get taken where he was supposed to get taken at. So they say. They rose above the place where they were picked in life. Barack Obama, mixed kid, rose above anything. But you got to think about this for a second. You have to be like 1st round draft talent, not to become a product of your environment. It's how they set up the society we live in. So to get back to the main thing, I'm not a religious person, not in the least, but family values matters. And family matters. It is one of the most important things in life. Another thing, abortion. I went to the doctor with my ex-girlfriend a lot over the last few years. And my best friend in the world named Christina told me about, man, I know this girl go to the chop shop every day. Chop shop? Killing the baby is now called the chop shop? And full disclosure, I have 2 relatives of mine, no names will be mentioned, who I know personally have had abortions. And I know little kids can be bad, they can give you headaches, they can be spoiled, they can be hollering, they can stink, you got to wash their booties and all them things like that. But abortion is something I look at and I just shake my head. Because as bad as some kids are, the potential is there for them to be great. But they don't get the chance to be that great person because your mommy don't aborted you because she didn't like your daddy. And another thing about grinds my gears, really? What's up with these sisters having babies with niggas they ain't gonna stay with just cause he cute? My baby gonna be cute, but the nigga ain't shit. Or the nigga got a woman already. And when I say this, I'm talking about all ethnic groups. Why are you having a baby with a man that is never gonna do anything for the child? Nothing. How's that helping your kid? I tell you, y'all, the society has some growing up to do. And they think it's cute. This is like these shows like 15-Year-Old Mama. I'm going to be a young, a young MILF. I'm like, it's retarded, the situation they putting out. And being that I talk to people overseas, mainly in the Philippines, because my girlfriend is Filipino. And the stuff they get from the idiot box. The idiot box is a television set. It can have an influence on you, regardless of anybody saying, oh, the TV and social media have no influence. Bullshit. Because if you have no influence on you, you wouldn't use television and you wouldn't use the internet. It has an influence. That's why it is there. But to the main point, what I want to say is that we have to realize as human beings that this thing has influence over us. And it's no farther than to go to see how culture has changed around the world. I see some of these little Asian boys and girls, I swear to God, they're like they went to Negro school. I'm like, they doing hip-hop and R&B the way I used to see brothers and sisters did it back in the 90s and the 80s, in the early 2000s. And that's what I'm talking about. The media has an influence on all of us. Whether we like to admit it or not, it has an influence. Always has. That's why people are viewed a certain way. It's through social media. Now check it out. I'm a well-rounded individual. Sometimes I do say the word nigga. Sometimes I curse a little bit too much. Maybe sometimes I catch an attitude problem, but really that ain't even me no more. I'm not a young nigga like that. But at the same time, I feel like, We're supposed to be so farther along in that. But social media has had a profound effect. When people talk to me as an African American or a black person, when I hold a conversation, now sometimes I do slip up into sounding a little Ebonic-like, but more than likely they say, you sound very articulate for a black person. I'm being honest, as a black person, how the fuck are you supposed to say that? You sound smart for a black person. For a black person, not intelligent? Let me tell you something, other minorities and other groups of people around the world. The Native Americans didn't survive the white man. The black man did. You know how we survived it? Because we some tough motherfuckers like the cockroach. Cockroach is like an insignificant, itty bitty little piece of shit, but he survives. Through all the spread, through all the exterminated, cockroach still there. You know why? Because the cockroach is the most smartest pest in the world. He knows how to survive through all the bullshit. And that's what black people do. We survive stuff that other people do not survive. Other groups of people do not survive what we survive. The Jews, the only reason they're Jews today is because of World War II. If the Nazis had had their way, the Jews were not going to survive. Being honest with you. But even if World War II would have been successful for the Nazis, niggas would still exist. Because at a certain point, people don't see us as a threat to their overwhelming power. White people have never seen black people as a power, as a, what you call it, a bulwark against them for what they really want to do. But when they do see us that way, you know, in the 1960s and 70s, they made drug laws, war on drugs, that sort of thing, and again, survived it. And we'll continue to survive a lot of things thrown at us. But as people, you get tired. You know, when people say, why black people seem like they get, I mean, to be honest with you, anybody would give up with all this BS that you got to constantly deal with as an African American. You have to deal with so much. So much. It's crazy. But you know, I'm not going to badmouth the system on it because sometimes, you know, when it comes to drugs and prostitution, you know, and stuff like that, some of that is your fault. Nobody told you to take them drugs, but at the same time, think about it for a minute. The opioid epidemic, which is really hitting white communities right now. I heard the President of the United States say, we got to do something about this because this is hurting our people. And I sat there and thought to myself for a second, I remember when I was a young nigga in Chicago in the projects in the early 1980s, what the drugs was doing to my neighborhood. And I never heard a president ever say that. Now for niggas, drug dealers to death. You feel me? Never heard them talk about putting big-legged niggas to death from the 1920s. Never. But you know what is going on? A lot of young white people are killing themselves. Now this is not a racial thing to me. You got to realize where you're at. This is a black and white nation. And everything that happens around here is always going to be connected to those two groups. People, oh, this is a multi... No, listen to me. Listen to me, people. If you're Asian, if you're whatever, everything rolls on the fulcrum of black and white. And it always will. This idea, oh, yeah, we are. But every time you talk about racial shit, they're never talking about other groups of people. They're talking about black people and white people. I mean, to a lesser extent, when we talk about racial issues, we don't even include people coming from the continent of Africa. They don't talk about, listen, I heard this African lady say, she went for a job interview. When they heard her act, they saw her, they looking at her funny. When they heard her act, oh, you from Africa. Okay, well, you cool. They thought she was an Aisha. But she was from Africa, and it was better for her to be from Africa. Because they feel like she would be more intelligent than an African American, which they keep fucking up and thinking about. I remember being a shorty, watching movies about the end of the black people in that. And I sit there and I laugh really hard, like, do you not think black people would not survive the end of the world type situation in Mad Max type living conditions? The main motherfuckers that would survive some shit like that would be us. Because we are always on the edge. You know what I'm saying? We always getting shitted on. And if the world's shitting on us as a whole, we survive it. Other people wouldn't. And that's just straight up. That's not me talking shit against other groups of people. It's just the truth. Whole groups of people are God. God. But niggas survive. Roman Empire, back in the old, way back when, slaughtered whole groups of people that languages and cultures do not exist anymore. Niggas ran into the Roman Empire as Nubians and the used to be Egyptian people too. We ran into them. We survived them. Other groups of people through the Middle East didn't. Niggas ran into the Arabs in the Islamic rising. We retreated from North Africa into the interior, into the South. We survived it. Did a lot of black people die? Yes, they did. But we survived it. Slavery. The same thing that happened to us happened to the native peoples of this land as well. And the funny thing is, a whole population replaced the entire population of the New World. Serranos, mixed people, Latinos. Right? Now, true enough, they have native blood. But and some have black blood, and some have white blood, what they call blanca, and negrata, all that mixed in there. This is what they call themselves Latinos, right? But regardless of the fact, the culture that is Latinos, if you watch their television, I swear to God, you don't see nobody looking like Selena. You don't see nobody looking like Jennifer Lopez. You see white chicks. Oh, I'm like, wait a minute. I said, ain't that like about a 40 to 30% black rate in Latin America? Ain't that like a huge Native American component? Why do everybody look like Christy Brinkley? What the fuck going on? See, what happened back then was they put in a mindset. See, that was the ultimate goal. It ain't just eliminating the people. You have to change the mindset. And they put in a mindset that you are a white person. Though if you come to America with that bullshit, I'm a Dominican and I'm white. White folks gonna look at you like something fucking wrong. I'll see some Dominican brothers and sisters and I'll be like, yo, motherfucker, my niece is lighter than you and you call yourself not being black, get out of here. But then again, I have to realize the culture is different. You know, it's way different. So just because you have a skin complexion and a hair texture don't necessarily make you black. And just because your hair texture and your skin texture or color is different don't necessarily mean you ain't black neither. Because I see a whole lot of people that more black than me, way lighter than me and long straight hair. And I've seen niggas with the darkest skin and nappiest hair saying, oh, I'm Spanish. Can't tell a person what they want to be. If they say they're Spanish and not black, then that's what the fuck they are. That's what they grew up as. That's what they are. I'm not going to try to change their opinion. I'm not going to say you ain't black if you Puerto Rican. I'm not going to say you are black if you is. You choose to be what you're going to be or any other group. You know, I'm just watching this other interesting thing. When they was talking to the Sudanese dude, he said, you know, that's just some black African. I'm like, nigga, you're blacker than me. Talking about some black African. Like, what? But you have to realize that people have grown up a certain kind of way and don't see themselves as being black. But then they take their black ass to the Middle East, then they recognize, oh yeah, I'm black. It's funny, right? What is it, Sudanese don't consider themselves black until they go into the Arab world, what they call themselves Arab, and then they find out, oh shit, I'm black. Same thing goes for people from, what's that country? Somalia. Oh, I'm not black. Look at my hair, it's different. Nigga, no, not every nigga got nappy hair. What are you getting this ideal from? Yeah, the majority, but not every nigga got nappy hair. It's retarded. God. Going on these damn terms that's so damn old it don't make any kind of sense. And truthfully, be told on a certain level it never really did to begin with. So that's race. No, we look at each other as different, but actually we got the same blood. You know, it's just the outside that is different. And we have to think about that as a society too. That's another thing we got to get past, is the construct of race or racism. Because we all want race, we want the human race. You know? But it may take centuries, may take generations, or shit we may never get over it. Might be just baked in the cake for humanity until there ain't no more humans around. I hope not, but it is what it is. Like I told y'all, live in. Communist in my heart as they want to be. You know? I heard this man one time say recently on television, man, Seth Cross. Oh, you know, there was no Hispanics in this community in Pennsylvania. Now it's like the majority Hispanic. And all I have to say to that is, if you don't want the Hispanics to populate you in the country, then you should have never thought of using them as a weapon. I'm serious. This is for the Hispanics who might hear me. Hispanics, Asians, blacks, at one time or another, we always used as a weapon against another group. And they used us as a weapon against poor whites back in the day. Seriously. Think about it for a second. This whole Negro is going to take this job from this white dude who's getting paid too much. Right? He's getting paid a good salary. But this nigga's going to work for $10 less.
Deny them their resupply.
You know? He ain't going to complain too much. This nigga happy to get a job.
Firebombing run awaiting target.
Real talk.
Incendiary when ready.
He's happy.
Low altitude bomber
But at the same time, we have to realize something. That weapon shit, it works because a little bit in all of us is a tiny bit of racism anyway. Everybody think of themselves as a little better, then you want to be around people that look like you and like you and your thoughts and your political beliefs and everything. I mean, like I said, I'm liberal as they come. Yes? All right, mother. I'm as liberal as they come. But, you know, in my heart, I'd be like, I want us all to get along. But then, you know, things happen to me as a young man, make me just like, wow. You know? But that's for me getting bad experiences from different people and being around and understanding I have been treated differently a couple of times, and I had to deal with it as a young black man, you know. But not as bad as my father did or any generation before me did, but you deal with it sometimes. And certain things that are racial sometimes that we don't think is racial, but it is, you know. I've heard a person say to me as a white person, I don't know how a white person ever be homeless. Why would you even think like that? But you know what? She's right. I don't know how the hell a white person get homeless. We talk about white privilege. Like every white person is get a chance to get a hand on that privilege. That's bullshit too. Some white people struggle just as hard as any nigga or any Hispanic or any other group in this country. And then there's black people and Hispanic people that live charmed lives and never had to struggle one day. So privilege is more of a class thing, in my opinion, and less of a color thing. But it flips back and forth depending on where you are and who you are, you know. Anybody ever say Michael Jordan ain't a privileged nigga, then you lying. He's privileged than a motherfucker. But Colin Kaepernick didn't get to the level of Michael Jordan. So he took his knee, which in my opinion, to be honest with you, was a mistake. It was a mistake. Like I told you, I'm pro-black. I'm pro everybody getting along. But you got to know where the money lies, too. He wants to be a football player. Brother, you will never snap another football as long as the day you live. And that's real shit talking. That ain't me being, you know, that ain't me being like an asshole or nothing. You just got to be real. They never going to hire that man again. That's it. He can call that shit a career. Nigga, it's time to go do something else with the rest of your life. You ain't never going to play football again. Forget about it. You know, you gotta realize sometimes where your butter is breaded. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna never play football again. That's just the truth. when it comes to other things in this nation, let's talk about economics. Privilege sometimes is a class thing. I'm going to give you a perfect point of example. For all of us who are Negroes, you know the Negro that got a little bit more than the other Negro, and they feel like they're better than you. That's across the board amongst all people. And I find this especially true amongst females. Real talk. Nothing against the sisters that's listening to me. But it's especially true among females. The most elitist, money-grabbing motherfuckers I ever always meet is women. You can do this, you can do that. Like, shit is not easy. You know? You got the one thing in the world that every motherfucker wants, which is pussy. You know? Sometimes life can be a struggle for people out there. But the elitist people, you know, they have this idea that life is easy. It should be this easy. It's not easy. Life is a hard thing. Life could be a bitch. Life could be a struggle. I mean, you know, how many temp agencies I've been to, how many janitorial, security, was a truck driver for a little while. I did a lot of different shit in my life. And still, I'm not settled on one thing. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with the rest of my life. 41 years old, nigga, and still playing video games, chilling with my moms. Now, you know, I should be a granddad by now, but I didn't, to be honest with you, didn't have any kids. Almost had a kid once or twice, but didn't have kids, like I said earlier, because I didn't want my kids to grow up in a situation in a broken home like I did. And people say I'm a hypocrite because I grew up in a broken home. But I'm not. I don't want my kids to grow up not with me there. Ain't nobody gonna protect your child but you. Ain't no police and all that. The first person to protect yours is gonna be you. Oh, I'm sorry there, y'all. Yeah, I love my Dusties. Love them old songs. That shit sound good to me. But yeah. I think in life we lose that idea that we have to get along and be righteous and be kind to each other because the family situation is gone. Sad. And how you get that back? It's through policy. Oh, you can't change people's hearts. Let me tell you something. Policy also push forth racism. In Nazi Germany, I was watching this documentary about the rise of the Nazis. And a lot of good German people disagree with the Nazis. Oh, you're gonna boycott the Jewish businesses. But politics and policies constantly being pushed against the German people that were Jewish eventually worked. All the Germans slowly but surely became anti-Semitic. And I'll give you another idea. Rush Limbaugh and Fox News push a racist agenda by trying to turn black people and white people against each other. Not understanding one thing I often say, I'm gonna tell you something. This is a straight honest truth. Po white folk and po black folk have the same interests. We go through the same shit. And I be like, yo, you think you better cause you white nigga? You's a nigga too. You know, they call them po white trash and whatnot. And I'll be honest, I'd rather be called a nigga than trash. Some calling you trash is like really like low ball. You know what I'm saying? Call me trash, call me a nigga all day long. I do not want to be called trash. You know what I'm saying? Just being honest with you.
Air package ready. Airdrop on your section.
And when you deal with that, you know what I'm saying, they have to deal with their own things. That's why I told you white privilege is true to a certain extent. Then it's more about the class situation. Because like I told you, there's a lot of black people here and live in America that do very well. African Americans that do very well. And there's a group of African Americans that do very poorly. But that's amongst every group. That's why I don't believe in white privilege or black privilege or any kind of privilege. It's there, but it's not about your race sometimes. It's about your class. Like affirmative action. More white women have taken advantage of affirmative action than black people have ever taken advantage of it. It's helped white women too. You know, a lot of black people and white people fought hard for affirmative action to help people. And it did, you know, it helped a lot of people. It helped a lot of people get to a better point in their life. And we fought for them. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there at the time, but a lot of good black men and women that I will never meet, and white ones too, maybe Asian ones too, and Hispanic ones too, that lost their lives in the freedom bus ride, you know? You know, I wasn't there for none of that shit, but I benefit from that. America is always going to be a struggle. As one struggle ends, another one begins. Being honest with you. People think the struggle's over after civil rights. It didn't. You know, you still have to deal with certain people in the government and out of the government didn't like black people. And they did everything possible to hurt us. You know? And at the same time, other groups as well. Just because, you know, you think your struggle is over, it's never over. The struggle continues. Always. Struggle continues.
Paratroopers on schedule. Ready to zone. Paratroopers inbound.
It's just the way, you know, the world we live in is. But on to other issues in life. Let's talk about Democrats and Republicans. And this is an important issue as well. At least to me. I'm not going to speak for other people. Policy matters. Like I spoke a few minutes ago about Adolf Hitler. And his Joseph Goebbels, the minister. You got to look this guy up. This was one smart motherfucker. Evil as fuck, but smart as hell. And what he did was to even push Adolf Hitler to a certain extent to greatly increase the prejudice laws against Jewish people. Now, Hitler had his issues with Jews, but there was a Nuremberg rally where Joseph Goebbels took even the Fuhrer by his balls and pulled him along to pass the anti-Jewish legislations. It's crazy to think that an underling can have such effect. But here in America, it's not always the guy at the top, it's those that sits around them in their little council or in their cabinet that push policies. I'm gonna tell you something. Food stamps and other things came to this country not because the president of the time pushed food stamps. It was the policy of someone in the cabinet that gave us food stamps. That was not the guy that built the projects, that the governor or the mayor or anybody like that at the time that pushed the projects to be built. It was somebody in the cabinet pushing the idea, okay, we're going to give these people low-income housing to get them away from people who don't want to live around them. Hey, that's just the way it is. Policy matters. When people say, I can't legislate filling, you can legislate anything you want to. It's bullshit. Now, I'll give you an example. What they call it busing in the 1970s. They bus black kids to white schools and white kids to black schools to try to foment integration so they can get us to live around each other. But you only tried that for about 5 to 6 or 7 years. And largely now, a lot of school districts in North America are back segregated. Now, you might have a school that's majority black with other races of people in there. Or you might have a school that's majority white that has other races of school people in there. But they're still predominantly white and black schools. And black people are not even the biggest minority group anymore. Very close to still being that, but not that anymore. It's still majority black schools. And white people are not the biggest group in this country anymore. It's still majority white schools too. As I always said, regardless of whatever happens else in this country, it's always going to roll around on a fulcrum what's going on with black and white people. And from that, it affects every other group in the country. Regardless of what people say, it's the truth.
Remember your training. Make us proud.
Democrats and Republicans, okay? This is why I don't like politicians. Especially politicians of today's era. Because they really don't have, like, the conviction. I understand you believe something and you have a belief system, right? And you can't get everything you want, but you can get a big percentage of some things you want so you can pass your policies, right? I hear you on that 100%. But here's something that really grinds my gears once again. Do you really believe in these policies that you're passing? Are you passing it because this is the political party you're into and you want to have power? You know what's surprising to me about the Nazis was that a lot of them did not hold those beliefs against the Jews, against the Gypsies, against the Jews. But it was a means to an end to attain power. You know, that whole saying, to get along, you go along. And it's a very true statement. People will get along to go along all the fucking time. That's why I told you about when they said we can't legislate the way people feel. Of course you can't. But if everybody's not feeling the racial shit, it'll go away slowly. We welcomed the Arabs when they came. We welcomed the Jews when they came. They weren't called Arabs back then. They were called Asiatics. You know, we welcomed them. Because the Middle East was falling the fuck apart. It was becoming a giant fucking desert. And niggas was like, you know what? You know, we ain't gonna be bogus, niggas. Come on up in here. We got all this fresh water on the River Nile, but it was called the African River at the time, or the Kosibo River at the time, you know what I'm saying? And we let everybody in, which is a mistake. I must be honest. Mistake. Because eventually, it led to war and fighting and all that because it was the best land around. So, you know how things go. Time changes and things move forward. So it was what it was. Now we're in North America. And the white majority feels like they're being squeezed by all these minority groups. Now, I will say this again. They use different minority groups as weapons against different people. White conservatives, let me say this, use black people as a weapon against poor white people who were in unions to destroy their unions. They used us. They used poor Hispanics against blacks later as a weapon. Then they used the Asians as a weapon against the Hispanics and the blacks. This is the model minority group. And the thing that you realize is the people that's truly in power are still in power in this nation. It's nothing that's changed. Now, we got racial diversity going on, but as I will always say, diversity has not brought forth progress. To a certain extent, it has. But there's no progress as us becoming a perfect union. I should not still call myself an African American. I should call myself an American. I should not, a Hispanic person should not call themselves a Latino or none of that bullshit. They should call themselves an American. A white American should call themselves an American. Should not be, I'm a white American, I'm a European American. And you're starting to hear people say, I'm a European American. I'm like, what the fuck? European American? A long time I never heard white people say some shit like that. I'm a European, a white American of European descent. Is there any other kind? I'm just saying, we need to not do that. We should say, well, I'm an American, is what we should be at. Just like we go to music. Nobody around the world hear this music I'm playing right now and say, oh, this is African American music. Rock and roll was nigga juke music, hip hop black music, American music. When people eat our hamburgers and our pizza and our French fries the way we make it, nobody says that is Italian American food. They say it's American food. When I talk to the Filipinos that, you know, my girlfriend is one of, it's amazing the stuff they think that is real. I'm serious. When I tell you, there's certain things they think that is real that they see on TV. Now, in certain neighborhoods, there are a bunch of niggas that's gangsters, but, you know, there's gangsters everywhere in America. You know, it's like when I was a shorty, I used to think every Italian was in the mafia. Far from the truth. Not every black person in the gang. It ain't never been the truth even when I was a shorty. And it ain't the truth now either. But you see that on television and it promotes it. I've seen recently where China, with their cultural authority, has banned hip-hop culture. And a little part of me got mad about it, but I thought about it for a minute, like, you know what? What the fuck am I mad at the Chinese about banning hip-hop for? Why the fuck am I mad about that shit? Hip-hop is, to a certain degree, it is like a destabilizing force. And the Chinese don't want that shit in their country. You know what? Honestly, I don't fucking blame them. You know? Shit. All that foolishness and stupid shit that you see on TV, if that's hip-hop, why would I want that in my country? Hey, I can't hate on it 100%. I had to check myself for a second too, you know, because you listen to it, like I listened to Kashi 6ix9ine. True enough, the brother is talking about Bloods a lot, you know. I gangbanged myself when I was a young nigga, but I don't know. I can understand why they want to ban certain things, and maybe they didn't need to ban the whole thing, but like the way hip hop was blowing up over there, it's a fear thing by them. No, the hip hop that will be born in China was not going to be the same as in America, but you started seeing the hand signs mimicking the gangs like they do over here, and I kind of understand why they did it. But, you know, being an American person, I was kind of upset, like, why the fuck, if you gonna ban hip-hop, why not ban rock and roll too? Why not ban R&B? But they didn't, and I can understand why, you know. As they say, in America, what is white is right. Or what is perceived to be white is right. And that's the thing about rock and roll and country music. It's perceived to be white. You know? So, the political thing at the end of the day is that we as a society of people have to get past the past. And if we get past the past, then one day I hope when I have children and they have children, they are seen as American children. I don't want to have to go live in a black neighborhood or a white neighborhood or a Hispanic neighborhood or Chinatown. I should be living in an American neighborhood. And I do agree to a certain extent, maybe they do need to close the borders for about a generation or two to let America absorb and machinate together to become a perfect union. But one thing I would say is, one of the things in the old days they used to do to make racism very much a hard thing for people to get in the hold on was that I gave you my daughter to marry your son, and they're from two different tribes. And over time, them two tribes become one big tribe. And maybe that's what we have to do. Well, my